India has come to the aid of its friend and ally Israel once more. Indian intelligence agency RAW has prevented a deadly attack on Israeli civilians and tourists by Islamic extremists. This report in the Times of India details how Sri Lanka has arrested 5 extremists after specific information from Indian intelligence agencies like RAW. These extremists had planned to carry out a massacre of Israeli tourists in popular Sri Lankan tourist destination Arugam Bay, similar to the attack carried out by Hamas terror group on October 7, 2023, killing over 1,000 Israeli civilians in a barbaric attack. India's intelligence agency RAW played a key role in handing over specific information on this potential terror attack and the individuals behind it to the Sri Lankan Terrorism Investigation Division. Following this, 3 Sri Lankan nationals have been arrested, the country's public security minister Vijitha Herat has revealed. Indian intelligence initially passed on the information on the 7th of October, which led to the initial arrest of 2 people who had been plotting to attack Jewish tourists and businesses between the 19th to 23rd of this month. One of the suspects had been based in Iraq earlier. It has not been revealed whether India's RAW coordinated with Israel's Mossad to prevent this attack. However, just a few days after India warned Sri Lanka of a possible attack, the Israeli embassy in Sri Lanka also issued its highest level of advisory and requested citizens to leave Arugam Bay and coastal areas of Sri Lanka. The US embassy followed soon after with an advisory, following which the information became public to the media in Lanka. Sri Lanka's public security minister Vijitha Herat explained why they had kept the initial intel from India secret, saying, quote, "We did not inform the public until the information could be verified. Some information has been revealed that there may be potential threats to the safety of the tourists who visited Sri Lanka. Intelligence agencies received information about it. Upon receiving that information, we immediately took action," unquote. Anti-Israeli and anti-Jewish sentiments are running high in some regions of Lanka, which have seen protest marches and rallies against Israeli retaliation to the Hamas terror attack in Gaza and now Hezbollah in Lebanon. Palestinian authorities claim more than 40,000 civilians have been killed in Gaza in Israeli military retaliation, though Israel refutes these figures. However, till today, Hamas refuses to return Israeli hostages to end this war, and instead it is using the hostages as human shields and propaganda tools. To prevent a similar situation in Lanka, despite the latest arrests, security net has been extended to most of Sri Lanka's southeastern and southern coasts. Hundreds of police personnel have been deployed and checkpoints set up to prevent any tragedy, similar to the Hamas terror attack on Israel last year, in which the terrorists did not even spare women and children and recorded their heinous acts for propaganda purposes. The focus of the intelligence also includes places of worship as well as Chabad House in Arugam Bay, which is a Jewish community center. Police spokesperson Nihal Thalduva revealed, quote, "The information was that a place called Chabad House, run by Israelis, could be a target, and we have taken measures to strengthen security," unquote. Remember, during the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks carried out by Pakistani Islamic terrorists, they had even targeted the Nariman House, a Jewish center in Mumbai, which was eventually raided by Indian special forces to end the siege. Israel had stood by India shoulder to shoulder during the Mumbai attacks like a brother in arms. Following India's intel to Sri Lankan authorities, embassies of Germany and Australia also issued advisories to their own citizens. Sri Lanka knows all too well of the threat of religious terrorism, and the country is yet to emerge from the 2019 Easter bombings. 269 people were killed and more than 500 injured in bombings in 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels in what turned out to be an ISIS-linked terror attack. Meanwhile, India-Israel ties have stood strong despite the ongoing war in Gaza. New Delhi did raise the issue after 2 UN peacekeepers were injured in an Israeli attack in Lebanon. However, on every other issue, India has refrained while the United Nations was used to pass anti-Israel resolutions. India backed Israel and refused to sign a letter by 104 nations plus 55 countries of the African Union after Tel Aviv banned and criticized UN Chief Guterres for being soft on Hamas and for initially not criticizing Iran's missile attack on Israel, though Guterres later did condemn Iran. Earlier, India abstained from a UN resolution calling for an arms embargo on Israel as it continues its military operation to free the hostages in Hamas captivity. India-Israel defense ties are also booming, with India being the biggest importer of Israeli defense equipment. While nearly half of Indian warships use Israeli radars, India and Israel have also collaborated to manufacture cutting-edge air defense systems like the Barak 8, armed on most Indian Navy warships. Indian Air Force, meanwhile, also uses Israeli Heron drones as well as guided missiles. However, historically, India has always backed a two-state solution which caters to the needs of Israeli security as well as Palestinian sentiment for a homeland alongside Israel. However, Palestinian political leaders have always rejected all proposals for a two-state solution so far. Have your say. Is India right in backing Israel against religious terrorism? Leave a comment with your opinion and subscribe to Inconnect News for more defense updates and geopolitics.